right, good evening. Welcome. My name is Cynthia, and I am streaming live off of the Movement, Climbing, and Fitness in Boulder Facebook page. This is my first time, so let's see how this goes, and hopefully you're all seeing this. I'm gonna get my glasses so I can see as well. Alright. So this is gonna be a fairly, I wanna say uncomplicated practice. And I use that word because I feel like easy or basic is kind of misleading. So if you're more advanced and you want to up level and do different variations, please feel free to do so. But I'm going to guide a practice that is going to be really focused on connecting to our roots, going a little bit deeper, and physically finding those stabilizing deep muscles that really help us posturally. In terms of what you need, if you have a block or two, great. If you don't have at least one block, you can take a towel like this and roll it up. So if you have a thicker or denser towel, that's gonna be better than a thinner towel. And if you have a little tennis ball or a therapy ball, great. And if you don't worry about it. You don't need these props, but I will give you some options and modifications. All right, so as we begin, I'm gonna invite you to lay down onto your back. So make sure that your block or your towel is nearby, just so you don't have to get back up and grab it. Okay, so some variations, you can have your legs straight out in a Shavasana. You can have your feet on the floor a little bit wider than your hips, your knees drop in to touch. This is a good variation if you have low back sensitivity or sacral issues. You can also come into Supta Baddha Konasana, soles of your feet together, knees drop out to the sides. So if you're feeling pretty good in the hips and in the knees, you can do that. So go ahead and find a comfortable position. Close your eyes and just take a moment to come into this space. So little fidgets and adjustments like snuggling your inner shoulders down away from your ears so you feel a little more open across your chest. And as you relax the muscles at the backs of your eyes, just feel a softening in your skin. As you start to hear the ambient sounds around you, begin to draw your awareness inward and to your breath. And we'll begin with 2 cleansing breaths together. So go ahead and exhale out all of your air. Empty your lungs, pull your belly button towards your spine. And when you find empty, inhale, relax your belly, feel it rise, start to breathe into your chest and into your throat. Hold your breath at the top. And then open your mouth, exhale. Let it go. One more time like that. Inhale as slowly as you can. Breathe on all 4 sides of the body, front, back, right, left. Draw in a little bit more air at the top and hold. And whenever you're ready, open mouth, exhale. Let it all go. Now keep your lips sealed and start to take a few deeper, mindful breaths in and out through your nose. And if you're familiar with Ujjayi breathing, start to cultivate a soft Ujjayi breath. So if you're feeling the breath in your nostrils, start to draw the awareness more into the back of your throat, and you'll start to hear a soft whisper as you breathe. And you'll feel that you're able to control the steadiness of your breath in and out. Go ahead and take a few more breaths here, really connecting to your rhythm and your flow. And as you lay there and breathe, we're gonna do some root work next, also known as core work. So this is not something that we're trying to kind of break you, do it as hard as you can. This is really to go deeper. Really want you to feel deep, low belly connecting to transverse abdominis, and that's the deepest lumbar stabilization. So if your knees are open out to the sides, use your hands under your thighs, draw your knees together like you're closing a book. If your legs are straight, bend your knees, and then everyone hug your knees into your chest. Give yourself a little squeeze, maybe rock from side to side, massaging out your back body. Start to draw circles with your knees in one direction, massaging your hips, your sacrum, your lower back. And then make sure you go in the opposite direction as well. So as you come back to center, go ahead and place your feet onto the floor. Grab your block or your towels and bring it in between your thighs, so closer to your hips rather than in between your knees. So if you've got that towel, it's going to look something like this. So the thicker the towel, better. So you have more kind of purchase power to hug in. If you have sensitivity, you can keep your feet on the floor, bring your arms down by your sides, draw your shoulders down away from your ears. If it feels okay, pick your feet up, and I want you to bring your knees above your hips, not over your belly. So move those knees forward. Keep your shoulders relaxed. Close your eyes here and just take a breath in. Squeeze and hug that block or that towel. Keep your shoulders nice and relaxed as you take a deep breath in. And then as you exhale, pull your lower belly down and back towards the spine. So you're pressing and spreading your lower back across the floor. Take another breath in, squeeze that block, spread your toes so feet are nice and active. And then as you exhale, press your lower back down. Imagine you're pushing your knees up onto the ceiling, so don't pull the knees towards your belly. So one more time like that. Take a deep breath in, let the shoulders relax, your jaw relax, your face relax. And then as you exhale, spread your lower back down across the floor. See if you can feel that thick band across your lower belly engaged. Now take an easy breath in here. You can continue this. Otherwise, you're going to interlace your fingers behind your head. Bring your elbows to wrap towards your eyes. So you're cradling your head with your hands. And as you inhale, lift your head and shoulder blades off of the mat. Reach your elbows towards the sky rather than towards the thighs. And then as you exhale, drop your head into your hands. Keep your lower back spread on the floor. Take another inhale. Squeeze that block. This time, straighten your right leg. It does not have to be all the way. And bring your elbows towards your left knee as you exhale. So both elbows forward. Inhale, come back to center. Keep your head lifted. Bend that right knee back to center. Spread your lower back on the floor. Left leg is straight up now. Bring your elbows towards your right knee. Both elbows forward. Try to lift the bottom tip of your right shoulder blade off the mat. Inhale, come back to center. Gently rest the head in the hands. Squeeze that block, lower back on the floor, right leg straighter or straight. Exhale, elbows towards your left knee. Hold it here. And then if it works for you, take that right arm across the body so that forearm is against your left outer thigh. Draw your right shoulder blade down your back. And then reach that left elbow forward and closer towards that knee. Try to keep your neck relaxed and your jaw relaxed. Hug that right thigh in. Reach up through that right foot. Take one more breath here. Inhale, come back to center. Hold the breath in here. Squeeze that block. Press your lower back down. Stretch your left leg straight. Bring your elbows towards your right knee. Now just take a moment here. Hug that right thigh in. Spread your lower back down and maybe reach that left arm across the body. Forearm outside of the outer right thigh. Draw your left shoulder blade down the back. Reach that right elbow closer towards the knee. Gently press the head back into the hands. Take one more breath here. See if you can soften something. Inhale, come back to center. Hold it here for a moment. Squeeze that block or towel. Spread your lower back down. Reach your elbows a little bit higher. Take one more inhale here. And then exhale, release your head down. Place your feet onto the floor. You can stay here, or you can lift your hips up into a bridge pose. So you maybe still have that block or towel in between your thighs. You can also take a variation with, if you have a block under your sacrum, for a supported bridge. Walk your shoulders underneath you more. Lift your chin away from your chest. And just breathe. If you're in that active bridge, see if you can soften your glutes a little bit. So if you feel like they're working a lot, soften them a little bit. See if you can get in touch with those back muscles, your hamstrings, your inner legs. Take one more breath here. Good. If you have a block under your hips, lift your hips up, slide that block off to the side, and slowly lower one vertebrae at a time. Go ahead and straighten your legs out. Reach your arms over your head. Take a deep breath in. Stretch out your belly. And then open your mouth. Exhale. Good. One more time. Inhale, stretch. This time, hug your knees into your chest. And if it feels okay for your spine and your neck, start to rock forward and backward a few times. If that doesn't feel okay, then you can just roll to your side. We're going to make our way up and forward to hands and knees. So coming up into a tabletop position, spread your fingers wide, set your shoulders above your wrists, your hips above your knees, and start to find some movement for your spine. So that might be traditional cat-cow, arching and rounding your spine with your breath. Maybe you want to do more circular motions with hips, shoulders rolling out your head. But just start to connect with breath and movement. And really getting in touch with the spaces that might feel a little tight or stuck. And just bringing more awareness to those spaces. Take about 3 to 5 more breaths here. Slow down the breath. Finish up your last round of breath. And you'll make your way to a neutral spine. So set up for downward facing dog. Walk your knees back a couple of inches behind your hips. Make sure the index finger knuckles and thumb knuckles are really anchored down. Tuck your toes under, lift your knees and hips. Press all the way back to down dog. So take a few moments, if it feels good, to pedal out your feet. Wiggle your shoulder blades around on the back, shake out your head. And then start to find stillness in your pose. So as you spread your toes, feel your thighs nice and strong. And then from the tops of your thighs, so where it meets the hips, you want to push back in space. You're going to feel a little lighter in the hands, and then push your hands heavier into the floor. Reach the crown of your head towards your fingertips. See if you can connect once again to your roots. They should feel nice and warm right now. Now bring your feet a little closer together. Float your right leg up to the sky. And just take a moment. Roll out that ankle. And then go in the opposite direction. And then come to stillness. So roll the right outer hip down towards the floor. and push the root of your left thigh back. Press equally through both palms, and without collapsing in your lower back, float your right inner thigh maybe a little bit higher. Take about 3 breaths here. Take one more breath. Look forward, and as lightly as you can, step your right foot in between your hands and bring your back knee down to the floor. So your feet should be about hip width apart. You don't want to tightrope your feet. So I'll turn towards you. You can see that it's not tightroping. It's a little bit wider. It's more stable. Then go ahead and bring your hands up onto your front thigh. We're not going to be here very long, but I just want you to feel that action of connecting to your roots to lift you up. Back toes can be pointed or tucked under, whatever your preference is. And then as you ground that right heel down, start to lift the fronts of your hips. And you're going to realize it's that same action we did on our backs with that core work, that root work. And as you lift the fronts of your hips, line up your shoulders above your hips, your head above your shoulders, and then just pause here. If it feels good, take your hands behind your back, interlace your fingers, squeeze your shoulder blades closer together, and as you do, soften your lower ribs in and down towards your navel. Take one more breath here. Good. Release your hands if you have them. Bring your fingertips to the floor and just pause. Take a breath. Coming back to center. Feel that right foot on the floor. As you tuck your back toes under, lift your back knee off of the floor and swing your back heel down and in. So we're setting up for Warrior Two. Your front foot heel lines up with your back foot inner arch or your back heel. So again, you're not tight roping the legs. You don't want that back foot too far behind you in space. And as you feel ready, come up into Warrior Two. You want to measure your wrists above your ankles, so it's a pretty wide stance. And then bring your shoulders above your hips. So see if you can really get in tune with what's going on with your thighs. So that front leg, you want to outer rotate that thigh. Draw that right hip under. So again, that same core work action. Press that right heel down. And then ground through the outer edge of your back foot, that back heel, and you're going to feel the whole inner left leg active. So the muscles lifting up towards the bone. And as you reach your arms out, let your inner shoulders soften. You can gaze past your right fingertips or forward, whatever feels right for your neck. But reach more through that back arm. Soften your left ribs back. Now, bring your right elbow to your right thigh, or you can bring your hand inside the foot. If you have that block, you can place your hand inside that foot. Open your left arm to the sky. Turn that palm to face behind you. Bend your elbow and take your hand to your lower back. So you can keep it here. You can reach and grab for your inner right thigh, or just grab your shirt. Wherever you're at, roll your left shoulder back, broaden your collarbones, and then breathe. Take a moment here, soften, push into your back foot, draw your right hip under, lean back. Now let your right ear drop towards your right shoulder and try to find some balance here. So effort through your legs, your feet, your roots. Let go where your shoulders are, your neck, your jaw. Release that left arm up to the sky. Turn that palm towards your head and swing your arm by your ear. So make sure you're not rounding through the chest. We're here for 3 more breaths. Stay with it. Close your eyes if you need to. Push into your back foot. And as you draw that right heel down into the earth, lean back and reach out through your left fingertips. 1 more breath here. Good. Inhale, look down. Bring your hands to the floor. Lift your back heel up. Step back to plank. So we're gonna hold plank, not just to torture you, but plank is a really good pose to see where you might need to work more on. Sometimes the hips sag down, sometimes the chest sags down. Remember that block. Squeeze that invisible block. Press your thighs up towards the ceiling. Lengthen your tailbone towards your heels. Strong connection to your roots. Now push down through your palms. Round your upper back a little bit. So you want to have the shoulder blades against the rib cage. So instead of winging off of the back, really draw the shoulder blades against the rib cage. Now draw your inner shoulders down away from your ears. Reach the back of your skull away from your feet. Now take 1 more breath here. And as slowly as you can, bend your elbows. With control, lower all the way onto your belly. Whew. All right, now release down. You can turn your head to one side. Release your arms by your sides. Wiggle out your hips if that feels good. And just take a deep breath into your back body from low back, low belly, mid back, upper back. Good. Bring your chin or forehead to the mat. And let's set up into a baby cobra. So place your hands next to your chest. And I just want you to work your feet and legs to begin. So point your feet, the tops of your feet should be on the floor. And you can even lift your thigh up, roll it in, and then put it down. And then do the same to the other side. So your inner thighs are spinning up towards the sky. Now push the tops of your feet down. Your kneecaps lift up off of the floor and lengthen your tailbone towards your heels. Now arms come by your sides. You can keep your palms down. You can interlace hands behind your back if you'd like. And then as you inhale, just lift your chest and arms up. Squeeze the bottom tips of your shoulder blades together. And as you reach out through your toes, lift your chest higher. Really connecting with your back body here. Float your right leg up off of the floor. Make sure the pinky toes are reaching towards the earth. Reach out through the ball of your right foot. And then keep your chest lifted, lower that right leg down. Try not to let anything change. Inhale, lift your left leg up. Again, pinky toe reaches towards the earth. Squeeze your left outer ankle in and lift your inner thigh higher. Lift your chest higher. Lift both legs up now. Spread your toes. Lift the inner thighs higher. Pull your belly button in. Roll your shoulder blades down the back. Curl your chest up. Take 2 breaths here. Good. Exhale, release. Turn your head to the opposite side. Breathe. Bring your chin or your forehead to the mat. This time, place your hands next to your lower ribs. If you want to modify, your hands can come forward next to your face or even further forward for a cobra. So work your legs as we did before. Lift your belly button. Squeeze your shoulder blades closer together. Inhale, curl up. So this is your back bend. You can stay in a baby cobra, so closer to the floor. You can lift higher. You can come into upward facing dog if you'd like. So make sure your shoulders are not forward like this. You want to roll them back. So those back body muscles are working. Lift your belly button. Press the tops of your feet onto the floor. Curl your chest forward and up. And with your next exhale, come into downward facing dog. Deep breath in through your nose. Open your mouth, exhale. Step your feet a little closer together. Float your left leg up to the sky. Go ahead and roll out your left ankle. And I know the tendency is to roll that left hip open. See if you can keep the hips square. You're working different muscles here. Go the other direction with the circles. And then find stillness in your pose. Feel your hands on the floor. Squeeze your right hip back. Press that right thigh back. Get a little bit lighter in the hands. And then anchor down through your inner palms. Roll your left outer hip down a little bit more. See if you can feel if they're square to the floor. Take one more breath here. Look forward and as lightly as you can, step in between your hands. Bring your back knee to the floor. So again, back toes pointed or tucked under, whatever your preference is. Bring your hands up onto your front thigh. So again, this pose is always really easy, but I find it's actually really hard. So I'm not gonna guide you as much on this side. I want you to start to turn inward and connect. Feel that left heel. Feel the pelvis start to lift. See if you have more space in your spine from those adjustments. And notice if you're holding tension in your shoulders or your jaw or your eyes. And soften there. And again, arms can be by your sides, or you can take that clasp if you did on the first time, opposite thumb on top this time. And as you open your chest, feel that space to breathe, but soften your lower ribs in and down towards your navel. And take one more breath here. Inhale, release your hands if you have them. Bring your fingertips to the floor and just take a breath. Tuck your back toes under, lift your back knee and swing your back heel down and in. So I'm going to turn sideways so you can see that that back foot is not way behind you. Heel to heel or front foot heel to back foot arch. And the reason is just to give your sacrum space, less torque in the pelvis. So as you start to sink in a little bit deeper, find your warrior two. Just trying to bring that thigh parallel to the floor, but that's not the most important thing here. Feel your feet on the floor. And instead of this gravity downward, draw in and up. Reach the arms out, eyes gazing wherever feels right for your neck today, but soften your right ribs back. Reach out through the right fingertips and just breathe. Take an inhale here. Bring your left elbow to your thigh or hand inside of the foot. Open your right arm up to the sky. Turn your palm to face behind you. Bend your elbow hand to your lower back, or grab your inner left thigh, or grab your shirt. So more importantly, that right shoulder moves back. So think of that seesaw principle. That elbow's behind you, that shoulder loves to move forward. Roll it back, broaden through your collarbones. Push into your back foot. And then pull your belly in. Let your left ear drop towards your left shoulder. Maybe nod yes or no. You can close your eyes and just start to drop in another layer. Release your right arm up to the sky. Turn your palm to face away from that right foot. Swing your arm by your ear. So you want your shoulders down away from your ears. Collarbones are nice and broad. Push down through your feet. Lean back. Reach out through your right fingertips. Take 2 more breaths. And again, maybe dropping that left ear. Feeling a nice little neck release. Inhale, look down, bring your hands to the floor. Lift your back heel. Take a breath here. Step back into downward facing dog. Deep breath in through your nose. Open your mouth, exhale. So I invite you to come into child's pose here, or if you're feeling more energetic, you can move through a vinyasa, or just breathe. If you're in child's pose, slide your hands under your shoulders and start to roll up 1 vertebrae at a time. If you are in downward facing dog, come down onto your knees, cross your ankles, and take a seat here. Comfortable cross-legged seat. Siddhasana, heels are in line with each other. If you're a little tighter, Sukhasana, feet under your knees and your feet are flexed. You just want to make sure that your lower back is not rounding. So if it is, sit up onto that towel or up onto that block. So let's place that left hand behind you. Bring your right hand across the body to your left knee. As you inhale, lengthen the spine. And as you exhale, twist. I want you to close your eyes here. And instead of letting your eyes lead this twist, I want you to bring attention down to your roots, so your hips. Feel them grounded, equally grounded. And then as you breathe and inhale into the front of your chest, back of your chest, right side of the body, left side of the body, twist from your chest, so from your lower ribs, twist to your left. Let your shoulders relax. Just 1 more breath here. So ground through that left hip. As you inhale, reach your left arm up to the sky. You're staying in this twist. Lean over to your right. So if I'm flipped backwards or doing the opposite, I will figure this out. But I am doing the same thing as you are, doing the same side. Usually I would mirror. Ground that left hip down. Let that right ear drop towards the right shoulder. See if you can move your shoulders back in space more and lean back. Reach out through your left fingers. Little deeper side bend. Breathe into the left side of your body. Good. Ground through your left hip. Inhale, rise up. Release and unwind as you exhale. Switch the cross of your legs. So lift out of your lower back and place your right fingertips behind you. Left arm reaches across your body. Grab your right thigh or your right knee as you inhale. Lengthen. Feel as you lengthen, you're also rooting down through your sit bones. And then as you exhale, so this time, feel your left shoulder blade draw down your back, and that starts your twist. Close your eyes or keep your gaze very soft. And notice how much you use your eyes. See if you can soften and even close them so you start to feel what's going on inside and moving from the inner body. Ground down through your right hip. Inhale, reach your right arm up to the sky. Keep your body twisted to the right, and then exhale, side bend over to your left. So that right hip grounds down, shoulders move back in space, lean back a little bit more. Let that left ear drop towards your shoulder, and then activate the right fingers. Reach out through that right arm. Feel the space in the right side body and between your ribs. Breathe into that. And then soften right shoulder down away from your ear. Ground through your right hip. Inhale, rise up. Release your arms, exhale, and wind. Take a moment, roll out your head, roll out your shoulders, just releasing any residual tension that might be in your shoulders and neck. Okay, so let's come forward to the center of your mat. Take a nice wide stance here. And we're gonna set up for Trikonasana triangle. I like to take a wide triangle. Some people take it more narrow, but I'm gonna invite you to go a little wider. So it's the same stance as warrior two, wrists over ankles, and your feet start parallel, but you're gonna turn your left toes in slightly, and your right toes point forward to the short end of your mat. In warrior two, in triangle, your hips are not square to that long edge of your mat. It's slightly rightward. And again, same reason, your sacrum and your thighs don't have that space. You're gonna have bone rubbing up against bone. So you wanna have and move from the tops of your thighs. So that right thigh is rotating out and that left thigh is rotating in, and you have that space for your sacrum. So as you inhale, reach your arms out to the sides, ground through your feet. Exhale, reach towards that right leg. Place that right hand very lightly on the shin. You're not pushing weight on it. Grab that block if you need it, or the fingers to the floor. So I want you to take your left hand to your hip for a moment. If you feel your spine is kind of rounding, drop the top ribs down. So you should feel the right side body pretty equal in length to the left side. And as you outer rotate that right thigh, you get that length in the right side body. And then push into your back foot. Open left arm to the sky when you're ready. And you can swing your left arm by your ear if you'd like. You can take a half bind behind your back, or you can just stay right here. So this is just a classic pose. And it's so easy just to get in it if you've done it so many times. But I find every time it's like the first time, but you know a lot more. So you just make these small adjustments. Remember that root work we did. Can you connect to your lower belly? Are you splaying out in the ribs? Are you leaning forward? Are you leaning back? They have that saying, pretend you're in two plates of glass. Not sure I like that, but just notice, kind of connect with your body, where you are in space, and can you make small adjustments. Take one more breath here. Reach up through the top arm. Inhale, come all the way up. And then as you exhale, switch to the opposite side. So right toes turn in slightly, left toes point to the short edge of your mat on the other side. And again, check with your hips, not square, because that really doesn't feel great for my hips. And then when you're ready, reach towards that left leg, place your left hand, shin lightly, fingers on the floor or on a block or something else that you found as a prop, and take that right hand to your hip. So again, a lot of times we kind of round the upper body because we don't create the space in our pelvis. So do that work, externally rotate your left thigh. You're gonna feel the left waist lengthen. Push into your back foot and then grow your spine. So reaching the crown of the head out away from the hips, and then roll your right shoulder back. And then the last piece is that right arm, anywhere you'd like it. So a lot of times we have this idea of what it should look like on the outside, and then we forget to feel what it is on the inside to express that pose fully. We're all different, and so it's that much more important to connect and really know what your body is doing. Make those small adjustments so you can get a little bit brighter. Maybe it's imperceptible, but you can feel it. Take about 2 more breaths here. See if you can ground more through that back heel. Pull your belly in, lean back, reach up. And then with an inhale, come back to center. Parallel your feet, and you can step or jump the feet together. Give it a little bit of a shake. So we're gonna start to come down, do a little bit more hip opening before we end our practice. So come to the top of your mat, and just take a forward fold here. So let it be nice. A little ragdoll, bend your knees as much as you need. You can sway back and forth. Your arms can dangle, or you can grab opposite elbows. So close your eyes here. Try to bring your hips above your ankles, so not too far behind. And activate your feet so you can still keep your knees bent, but press your feet down. Now let your spine just pour down. Let your neck go. Let your head release. Imagine it's like this heavy weight and you're just letting it go. Take another breath or 2 here. Good. Let your arms dangle if they're not. Firm your legs, and with an inhale, halfway lift, you can slide your hands up to the sides of your shins. Draw your shoulder blades down the back, and then step your left foot back. Bring your back knee to the floor. Heel toe that right foot out to the side, so it's outside of that right hand. If you need a little bit of height, grab that block or something that you can use to put your hand on, and we're gonna come to a twisted quad stretch. So go ahead and bend that back knee. Cushion that back knee if you need. You can fold that mat in half or use that towel if you have it. Reach that right hand back and catch hold of the foot. If this is not working for you, you can grab a strap to wrap around the foot. If you have any knee stuff going on, please find a different variation that works for you. And if you're coming into this twisted thigh stretch, take your left thigh back a little bit, bring that heel closer to the outer hip, and then you can start to descend down. That left hand can come down, your left forearm can come down. Go ahead and let your left ear drop towards your left shoulder. Open your chest. Stay connected to your roots. And for those of you who run or cycle, I find we don't give our quads enough attention, enough stretch time. And our quads kind of wrap almost all the way around your thigh bone, your femur. So we take a little extra time here. So if you're starting to feel that intensity build, see where you can soften. Last breath here. Let something go. Good. And then release that foot. Bring your hands to the floor. Come up onto your hands, and we're going to come into Pigeon Pose. So you're going to heel toe that right foot all the way to the other side of the mat. Drop your knee out to the side. So you want your knee outside of your shoulder, not inside. So you're not laying on that outer thigh. Roll your left hip forward. Stand up onto the fingertips. Reach through that back leg. Lift the fronts of your hips again. And then you can fold forward into your sleeping pigeon. If you've got that block, you can rest your head on that block. If, again, you have knee stuff going on, you can lay on your back and do figure four. So crossing that right ankle over your left thigh, take your hands and grab the back of your left thigh or the front of your left shin. So that right hand reaches in between the legs. Flex your feet. So whether you're in figure four or whether you're in pigeon pose, activate your feet. Feel that connection up through your legs to your roots. And with that steadiness, let your upper body soften. So your shoulders, move your jaw from side to side. And just take these few moments to turn inward. Start to recognize maybe any tendencies that you have. Maybe you already know. Maybe you're just realizing, like, oh, I tense up in the jaw or in the shoulders, just subconsciously. And then let that go. It's the beginning of forming better habits, which hopefully starts to become subconscious good habits. Take about 3 more breaths here. And again, just give yourself permission to drop in another layer, going deeper. With your inhale, walk your hands in. Keep lifting the fronts of your hips, tuck your back toes under, and then step back into downward facing dog. Walk it out, move in whatever way feels like release. Take a deep breath in through your nose. Open mouth, exhale. Good, without lifting that left leg up. So means you gotta connect to your roots, look forward and just slightly step in between your hands, back knee down. Don't be afraid to use that left hand to bring that foot forward and then heel toe that left foot out to the left. Grab that block if you're using, cushion your back knee if you need, or find a variation. Twisted quad stretch, bend that back knee, grab hold of the foot. So a lot of times we like to kind of sink our hips down and that feels good, but see if you can pull in through your lower belly. So just so you're stabilizing in your lower back. And then go ahead and lower down if that feels good. And again, just play around with small adjustments. You would be really amazed to know you really don't have to do that much and you're just going deeper. So when we start to let go of what it looks like on the outside you get so much more on the inside. And that's why this work is so important. Take about 3 more breaths here. And go ahead and release your back foot. Heel toe that left foot all the way across to the other side of the mat and drop your knee off to the left. So again, you want your hips to be square towards the short end of the mat. Lift the fronts of your hips. Back foot can be pointed or toes tucked under. And when you're ready, you can come into your sleeping pigeon. Take about 3 more breaths here. With an inhale, walk your hands in, tuck your back toes under, come back into down dog, or you can come to hands and knees. Take a few moments and move in whatever way feels like release. So feel free to come through the vinyasa and hold your cobra or up dog for a few breaths. So we've done a lot of kind of forward folding poses, hip flexion. So it's kind of nice to open up the fronts of your hips for a moment. And then go ahead and come down onto hands and knees. Have a seat. So if you have that block, and my therapy ball rolled away. So if you have a block and a therapy ball or a tennis ball, we're gonna do a little bit of neck release, so kind of along these trigger points. So kind of at the base of your skull, right behind your ear, you're gonna feel that knobby place. And then if you kind of turn your head to the opposite side, you'll feel that muscle, kind of a thick muscle going down to your shoulder blade. And you're gonna work that. So that ball goes onto the block. Can start with the ball under the ear and just find a nice sweet spot. If you don't have a tennis ball, no worries. You're gonna take a comfortable seat. Sit nice and tall. Drop your left ear towards your left shoulder. Maybe that left arm is gonna drape over the head. That right hand, you can turn the fingers towards you, palm down, slide it under your right thigh to get a little bit more anchoring, to let that right shoulder drop. And as you inhale, lift your chest. As you exhale, let that left arm be heavy. So rather than pulling with your arm, just let it be a weight. Let your inner shoulders drop. And you can kind of play around with letting that chin come closer to the chest. And you're gonna start to stretch a different part of your neck. If you're working with the tennis ball, keep working. Let yourself Just drop in. See if you can do less to connect a little bit deeper. If you're in that neck release, left hand comes to your left cheek, inhale. Lift gently without using your neck muscles. I know it's hard. And then release. Release that right hand. If you're working with the ball, switch to the other side. If you don't have that ball, that left hand can come under your left thigh. Maybe you want to switch the cross of your legs just to make yourself even. Inhale, lift your chest. See if you can notice if you're leaning forward. Lean back a little bit. Can you feel that you're totally vertical? Let your right ear drop towards your right shoulder. That right arm can drape over the head. Notice if you're pulling with that arm. Let it just be heavy. And you'll feel that your shoulders start to soften. Ground down through your hips. Broaden across your chest. And again, let that right arm be a weight. Maybe that chin will draw more towards the chest. If you're in that neck release, take the right hand. Try not to use your neck muscles. Take your hand to your right cheek. Use your hand. And as you inhale, let your hand lift your head up. Release your hands. Take a moment, roll out your shoulders. Maybe roll out your head. And if you're working with the ball, finish up, or if it's feeling really good, you can keep working with that. Take your legs forward for Paschimottanasana. Your feet can be hip-width apart. They could be together. Your knees can be bent. Use your hands to draw the flesh away from your sit bones. Inhale, lengthen your spine so you're out of your low back, not rounding. Grab your shins, grab your feet. Maybe your hands will be behind you to support. The tops of your thighs press down. Belly pulls in, chest lifts up. And if it's there for you, you can fold. So the upper back can round a little bit, but the lower back should not be rounding very much. You want to almost find that slight arch inward. And that should tell you where you should be in this pose. Inhale, rise up, and exhale, release. So go ahead and lay onto your backs. Draw your knees into your chest. This is where we're going to close practice. So if you need to take a supine twist or a happy baby, please do. And if you have just a few moments after we close this practice to come into a Shavasana, even if it's just for 1 minute, that makes a difference. So really sealing your practice. If you're near the wall, you can bring your legs up to the wall. Just make sure that your chest is open, neck is at a neutral curve, and your whole body can relax. If you want to sit in meditation, please do. But thank you so much for joining me today, and I hope to do this again soon, and I hope it all worked out. Have a wonderful evening, and namaste.